Hi, today I'm going to answer the question as to whether you can make a flight delay compensation claim against American Airlines, an American operated airline. Yes, you can. However, there are certain criteria that affect a non-EU airline like American Airlines that makes it possible to only make a claim for flights that are departing from a UK airport. So any flight that departs from a UK airport or any EU airport for that matter, and where it satisfies all the other criteria under section 261 of the actual EU law, then yes, you'll be able to make a claim. And I'll run through those in a second. The difference between, for example, an American airline, or American Airlines in this case, and an airline, say, like British Airways, is that because British Airways is an EU-operated airline, flights arriving back into the UK, or any EU airport for that matter, you would also be able to make a claim as long as it fell within all the other criteria that I'm just about to talk about. So what are the criteria that the delayed flight on American Airlines would have to satisfy? So the first one of those is the amount of time of the delay. And in this case, it's got to be more than 3 hours. So, and that's 3 hours of the arrival to the destination the American Airlines flight was going to, not when it departed the UK. So for example, it might have not actually pushed back, or there may be delays in the UK for that aircraft, and maybe it departed over 3 hours late. But if the pilot was able to catch up that delay, and they arrived, let's say it was arriving in New York, for example, and it arrived less than 3 hours late of the original planned arrival time, then you wouldn't be able to make a claim. The second criteria is whether or not the delay was down to the airline. Was it their fault? And this is quite straightforward, and it's only fair that these rules are in place. So for example, if the pilot was sick, or the crew turned up late, or there was a technical fault on the aircraft, then those are all deemed to be the airline's fault, and that would count towards a claim. However, if there was bad weather, the airport was fog-bound or snowbound, or there's hurricanes that has forced the aircraft to be delayed, these don't count to being the airline's fault, and so you wouldn't be able to make a claim. The final piece of information is the distance travelled. So the first milestone is a distance of 1,500 kilometres, and the second milestone is 3,500 kilometres. And depending upon the distance of the flight you've taken with American Airlines will dictate the amount of compensation that you are entitled to. And that range of compensation, it's calculated in euros, and that ranges from 250 euros right the way through to 600 euros. And that's per person on the flight. So depending on how many people in your party, whether it's 2, 4 or what have you, you'll be able to make a claim for every person in your party that were affected by that delay. To make that claim, you would need to write to, in this case, American Airlines, or you can get someone to do that claim for you. There's a link below actually that will take you to and explain that process. But essentially it's a no-win, no-fee. So you only get so the company only gets paid when you get your refund. So it's in their interest, of course, to make that claim work for you, and so there's no risk to you for that. And of course, they've got to make their money. They're not a charity at the end of the day. And so if you don't want the hassle, you don't fancy the idea of writing letters, and you want it to be a speedy process, and you want someone that has got the legal backing and the expertise to make that claim, then you can go down that route. But there's nothing to stop you making the claim yourself from American Airlines. I wish you luck, and if you've got any questions, pop a comment below, and I'll be more than happy to answer those.